Hi, here I am, everybody. Okay, so I have a dual purpose today. Purpose one is, oh my God, this show changed my life a year ago. We've been doing it for a year now, and I used to just watch, and now I help out because I own a camera. And I have a Twitter account, so great. But like Mike, I did stand-up comedy, and I'm only 2 years in now, and sometimes I feel the way that he did, and those words are very. But the thing happened to me last year. I started doing this show, and I get a lot of laughs in this room, not trying to be funny, not ostensibly trying to be funny, because this show I was talking about serious things that happened to me in my life, and it turns out my life is ridiculous, and that people should laugh at it, and I got a lot of stand-up material or whatever, but actually the most important thing was just the feeling of community that I have from doing this show. So I think everybody should be excited and clap for Dewey, who's done a great job. Okay. Now, the story I'm going to tell, other than that story lit, or whatever you want to call it, this is an apology story. I've done an engagement story before. This is an apology story. I'm hoping that my friend Dan Evans watches this story. Dan Evans just got married a week ago. I think it was, 2 weeks ago. And I was sick that morning, and I did not go to Dan's wedding. And I am racked with guilt about not going to Dan's wedding. And good friends of mine were there, and people I hadn't seen in years. And I think the only way that Dan could ever have justice in this situation is if I embarrassed myself in front of all of you for Dan. And here's a story. One time, I lived in the apartment across the hallway from Dan, and I was roommates with Dan's brother. Dan and his brother, their mother lives in Florida. They went to go visit for like a week or 2 weeks or something like that. And one day I was late for work, and I did not own a car then. I also don't own a car now, but I've had several cars in between then and now. Not good with cars. I don't like cars, don't want to drive cars, I don't want to pay for cars. I don't like the concept of insurance. There's just a lot of things. There's a lot of things that keep me from being a driver. I have a valid driver's license. I choose not to own and drive a car. The thing is, at this time, I was late for work. Dan has a car. Dan did not take his car to Florida. I texted Dan and asked him if it would be okay if I borrowed his car. And then I drove to work, and I left his headlights on because I was not familiar with his car. He had this crazy old, rare, not in production anymore Volkswagen called a Corrado, which is a really cool looking little hatchback car. It's like a fancier Volkswagen Golf, and it was black, and he loved this car, and he was a pizza delivery guy, and he would speed around the streets of East Rochester delivering pizzas with this car. And I took this car to work and left the headlights on, got out of work, car doesn't start, it's the daytime, and I don't remember, I think I had the headlights on just by accident maybe even, and so I got mall security to jumpstart the car for me, which was fine. Did that, drove back to East Rochester. Now I was worried about the same thing happening again. He didn't have jumper cables in the car, and I needed to do some laundry. So what I did was, I got my laundry, I brought it over to the laundromat just down the street, literally like 4 buildings down the street. And I left Dan's car running in the parking lot of the laundromat. And then I went back to my apartment just a couple of blocks away to take a shower in between changing loads. And I thought, well, we'll charge up the car's battery, everything will be cool, then I'll park it and everything's going to be awesome. You guys don't even know what's going to happen. So, what happens next is, I'm in the shower, And the door to the apartment is right next to the bathroom, and I hear a pounding on the door. A loud pounding and someone yelling in a thick Italian accent. See, we lived over a pizza place. It was owned by some Italian immigrants, and one of the owners of the pizza place who knocked on the door and yelled. He knew that Dan and his brother Rob were out of town. He was yelling for me because it could only be me who had gotten into this kind of trouble. What happened was that car exploded in the parking lot. That car set itself on fire while I was showering. One of my best friends on the face of the planet Earth, the car that he loved. I had a part in the destruction of that car. I think it was Frank from downstairs who knocked on the door and said, "Woody, is that Dan's car?" I'm like, "Yeah, Dan's car. I parked it over." He's like, "It's on fire. The cops are here." And I'm like, holy shit. I race to get clothes on. I run downstairs. The car is a twisted, water-doused hunk, still black. So, I mean, not a total loss. I'm so sorry, Dan. I didn't know what to do. Frank had already called Dan. Like, I went to, this all happened so quickly. And I found out later on, and Dan found out when he looked it up, that these Corrados had a tendency to catch on fire. There were some recalls on some engine parts or something like that, or wiring or something like that, and that their engines tended to catch on fire. And we didn't know this, and it was an old. He got it used, like he didn't know that there was a recall. It was the original owner. And some people say that it's not my fault. I don't think that's true. I think it's my fault. I think that I shouldn't have left his car unattended. I think it was a bad idea. I think that I should have sucked it up and not. Considering how little I care about a car, and considering how much he cared about that car, it should have never crossed my mind to even borrow it. And my mom said at one point to Dan when he came over for a family thing, because we hang, he loves my family and all this stuff. She said, he probably saved your life. Because the car could have caught fire while he was driving. I think he would have been happier if that car had burst into flames while he was driving it. I was broke. I had a $9 an hour cooking job at the time. I took the bus to work, and he very promptly was really nice to me about the whole thing. He came back and he made fun of me like it was like I'd broken a glass in his kitchen or something, and just asked me to pay for the fee to have it towed. It was towed to a junkyard, and it was like a couple $100. It was ridiculous. They towed it like 3 blocks, and I paid him that over the course of 4 weeks, and we mostly never talked about it again. And I feel grateful, and that I got off so easy, I guess. And I also feel horribly guilty that I got off so easy. And I feel like maybe there should have been some fisticuffs, or I should still be paying for it somehow. Or maybe if one of his kidneys had failed, I could have given him a kidney. I don't know what to do to make up for it. I still don't know. And he was one of my best friends, and we don't see each other enough anymore. And he just got married, and as if to add insult to injury, I missed his wedding because I threw up. I could have gone to the wedding, I guess. But anyway, I'm sorry, and thank you very much.